You are entering E&C's Pod of Awesomeness.
All right, we're going to start this off. I'm not even going to mess with you. I'm not going to do anything. Let's talk about Jim the Anvil Neidhart.
Yeah.
Man, this summer, I tell you, but it was a hard week, and I can't even imagine how hard it was for Natty, for TJ, for Brett, for
the whole family,
for everyone in the Neidhart and Hart family.
Yeah.
We lost Jim the Anvil Neidhart this week, which is, what do you say? I don't know.
It's hard to find the words. We've talked about it before in the past when we've lost, other members of the wrestling community. It's a tough thing. It's because you're also, he was a different generation than us as far as we grew up watching Jim the Anvil Neidhart. He was a big part of our childhood. As far as us being a tag team, one of our influences, and many of the tag teams that you still see going today are influenced heavily by teams like the Hart Foundation. And I remember the first time they were ever put together, I was like, what? This doesn't really make sense. But then all of a sudden, it kind of did make sense, Well,
the only thing that made sense initially, not knowing the Stampede history, is like, they both have Hart in their name.
Yeah. Yeah. But then it made sense, it made perfect sense. And just the way that they're completely different personalities and styles in the ring, made them that team. The things that they both brought that were different made them this amazing team. And I just remember his laugh and him pulling the beard and just being this over the top character and this powerhouse. And like I said, it's hard when you watch as a kid, as a fan, and then you meet, your heroes with the superstars. They were superstars to you when you grew up watching them, and you meet them in person, and they know who you are, and it changes your whole dynamic. And they're nice people, and then you get to know not only we knew Jim, but we obviously very close with Natty and TJ, and which makes it tougher because they're such great people. And you feel for them, and you always try to find the right words to say, even though there never is. But it's just tough, and it's always hard.
Yeah. It's funny when you start to see your heroes and their mortality, and you start to realize, okay, we're aging as well, and a different stage of life, and things like that really kind of bring it back home. And you see your parents getting older, you see all of these things happen, and then something like this happens, you're like, man, I grew up watching him. Man, it just, I don't know. It's weird to wrap your mind around sometimes. And, I just feel horrible for Natty, and I know how close her and her dad, were. And it's just, like you said, there's nothing you can say. You just have to, I don't even know, man. It sucks.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the wrestling memories that he provided an entire generation of kids and adults and all of that. But more importantly than that is the memories that his family will have of the type of dad he was, and
right.
Just all of that. I don't know. I just felt like we needed to talk about it, but I honestly don't know what to say. So
just like I said our best to Natty, TJ, and then their entire family. And it's a difficult time, and it's tough. But Jim was a legendary figure in the business. So
yep. And if depending on what you believe in. He's maybe somewhere pulling on that goatee with Owen, and Davey, and everyone else.
Yep.
All right. Well, it's also a large week, a week that involves Summerslam and NXT Takeover, and a lot of different things on the calendar of the world that is the scuffling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all you got to add to that, huh?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was thinking about it this week, thinking about SummerSlam, and, for me, like, SummerSlam was also almost a bigger pay-per-view for me than WrestleMania was, in a sense. I don't know, I seemed like I I mean, I had the Money in the Bank matches and the TLC matches for the tag titles at WrestleMania. But as far as like my singles matches, my biggest ones were at SummerSlam. My world title when I was champion against Randy Orton, and then when I was challenger against Alberto Del Rio, both world title matches were two of the biggest and probably better of my singles matches in my career, and they both happened at SummerSlam. And I was trying to put it trying to think about how important that stage is of SummerSlam, right? And I was like, if Mania is like the Super Bowl or like the World Series or the Stanley Cup final, right? Then like SummerSlam's kind of like the All-Star game in a sense, right? Where it's kind of that midway point.
All-Star game or the division championship or the semis
where you can
in the
kind
Stanley
of,
Cup.
You can kind of see where your standing is at that point and like realize, hey, I need to step up here to keep this momentum going, or what, how do I keep this going? I'm on top. How do I keep it going? It's kind of gauging where you're at as far as, after SummerSlam, it's pretty much, straight. I know there's Survivor Series and there's Royal Rumble, but WrestleMania is always the next kind of big one after SummerSlam to me. Like the other ones are big.
Well, I think
these are the main,
SummerSlam and Mania are the two main tent poles,
right?
And the way I learn about my career is that people will remind me on Twitter, kind of with things that happen, because I don't know, I just never really kept track. And then someone said that I think Undertaker and I have the winning percentage. It's wrestling, it's entertainment.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, like 11 wins or something at SummerSlam, which kind of boggles my mind. Like I don't even know how many SummerSlams I was in, but
at least four.
At least four.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as I started to think about it, I was like, okay, well, yeah, we had TLC 1 there, which, it was the second match in the series kind of thing. But so we had that there. I worked Cena there. I worked Taker in a Hell in a Cell. And now I realize that we were the first program, Taker and I, to work WrestleMania and SummerSlam in the same year. And now Brock and Reigns will join us in that club.
Interesting.
Yeah. It is. SummerSlam was big for me, and I didn't fully grasp that.
I mean, that's what I was thinking about too. Like it's a and like think about even further back than that. Like the first ever TLC match was on SummerSlam.
What I just said.
You did? Well, I must have tuned you out there.
I guess you did. Yeah,
did.
Apparently you did. That was the first match I talked about.
Oh,
yeah.
How about maybe I should put my phone down?
Maybe, you think?
Yeah. I was just checking an email that Matt was supposed to send.
ADD riddled bastard.
Oh, shush.
Yeah, that was the first match I talked about. I said TLC 1 was there. I went on about it for about 2 to 3 minutes, and you completely blocked that out. So, so there was that. There was Cena. There was Undertaker. You wrestled Randy there. Alberto there. I don't even remember who else I wrestled at SummerSlam, to be
I don't either.
honest.
I don't either.
I'm trying to remember now. It's going to probably bug me, but I don't remember. So.
Oh, I wrestled William Regal one year at SummerSlam.
There you go.
For the ECW title. It was like the fastest match in SummerSlam history. I think it was like 8 seconds.
Did you win?
Of course I did. Come on, I wouldn't be talking about
yourself over again.
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we've put ourselves over enough about our SummerSlam experiences. What we're trying to say, long story short, while tooting our own horns, is that SummerSlam's a biggie on the calendar. So enough about us. Maybe we should talk about what we were initially going to talk about, which is SummerSlam and this year's SummerSlam.
Yeah. It's a pretty stacked card this year, actually, if you think about it. Like on paper, it looks like it should be a pretty killer show. Like, I'm thinking about the match, the kind of, obviously the Brock Roman match that we've seen before.
Hey, let's start. They got Almas and Vega against Rusev and Lana on the kickoff show. They got Alexander against Gulak on the kickoff show. Those are two, completely different matches, but both fun in their own way completely.
Sure.
And Almas is good, man, and Rusev is good, and I like the dynamic with Almas and Vega, and Lana. She's hilarious, and they're hilarious together. So that'll be entertaining.
Well, what I like too about the kickoff shows is that sometimes people get like, a little
fired up.
Like, why am I on the kickoff show? And
exactly.
they
Usos. The
Yeah.
Usos are a main. That's one we talked about. With them about.
And that was like, and you do stuff that that lights a fire. I remember a couple of times where, I would get you get to the arena and you see your names like on Superstars or something. You're like, what? Okay, how about I go out there and make sure nobody can follow this match? How about that?
Yeah.
And then it lights a fire. But then it also, in turn, can make the rest of the show better because people pick up on that. Like, oh shit, I got to pick my game up here.
Yeah, and you got guys like Alexander and Gulak who, Betty Phoenix, the Phoenixed one, while she was there doing Mixed Match Challenge, she loved sitting down and watching 205 Live, and it would go on after, but she would sit there up in Gorilla and watch it and really, really loved how hard they're all working. They're trying to make this thing a thing. Yeah. And, I'm guessing they're probably sick of being on the kickoff show. Yeah. So I think they keep plugging away and doing what they're doing, and then you got a character like Gulak who's really funny and entertaining. Yeah, no, I was going to say I really like. I met him a couple of times, and he's a great dude. From my experience meeting him the few times. But I dig the fact that he's like the anti-cruiserweight almost, right? Like doesn't really want all the flash and all that kind of stuff, and I get a kick out of it. It's pretty funny. Yeah, so I'd like to see those guys that have been really busting their hump and having some great matches. You got, Buddy Murphy, Ali, all those guys are really working hard. So it'd be nice to see them, not be on the kickoff show. Yeah. Well, they keep doing what they're doing, and they won't be. And they'll get us talking about it. But we just rocket strapped them right onto the main card. I think that's what we did.
They're going to have to maybe rename the show Rocket Strap Live.
Oh, all right. Yeah, because we definitely ain't 205 right now. I'm
probably like a $180, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, I'm not 205. So, but anyway, I've been meaning to talk about those guys on 205 Live for a while, and we'd get flapping our gums. So anyway, I'm glad we got that. Yeah. Okay, so if we're looking at now what is perceived to be, probably the start of the main card or the live pay-per-view, Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin. Constable Corbin.
Yeah, I kind of like the Constable Corbin thing, to be honest with you. I think that he's Baron Corbin. I think he had some talent and obviously a big guy, and but I think this adds some layers for him to kind of. Sometimes it's hard to find your way personality-wise, and this kind of will get him a little bit of heat and stuff. Almost being like the foil for Kurt Angle's straight guy GM role, right? So, I think it's a good role for him, and I like the packaging of it.
Yeah, you can take that and run. Like you said, it adds a layer. You think about Mick and Regal and all those type of characters over the years. Yeah. I like that he shaved his head. I think that was a good move. Yeah. But me, I don't like wrestlers in street clothes.
Yeah, I don't either.
It fits with the Constable Corbin thing, but I always pictured him in a Bret Hart singlet, man. Yeah. And I think that with a lot of the designs and everything, it would look cool. Anyway, I think it'll be a good match. What I'm interested...
Wait. I just want to say something before we move on. Like a character that was very similar was the Chief Morley when Val Venus became Eric Bischoff's sidekick, and she was the chief, so he was Chief Morley, and he did wrestle in regular wrestling trunks, and he had Chief on the back. On black tights and as a rib with black tape.
So there's a way to do it.
Right, but here's the funny thing is, as a rib to him, I put black tape over the eyes, so on the back it said Chef. And
Chef Morley, I forgot about
he would go out, and the crowd picked up on it and started chanting Chef on house shows. And he came back every night. He's like, "Why do people keep chanting Chef?" And he would air his tights out every night. He wouldn't even look at it. Then next day he came in and he knew obviously because we kept calling him Chef and stuff after. And he's like, "I don't get it. I don't get why people keep calling me Chef." And then he figured it out. And of course he blamed me for good reason because I actually did it. But Chef Morley. Anyway,
I was
that
going to
just
say
reminded
he
me of
blamed you. You did it. There's no blaming. You did it.
That's true.
I
did.
forgot about Chef Morley. Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's something Owen would have done.
Yeah.
Kudos to you.
Yeah. Harmless rib. It was funny.
Exactly. So to your point, I think Constable Corbin could get, wear a Bret Hart type singlet. It would, accentuate how big he is. And I don't know. I just think it would be cool.
Yeah.
That being said, in terms of characters we're talking, does the Demon show up at SummerSlam? Because he has now twice in a row, I believe.
Yeah. I don't know. And the Demon's undefeated, man. So, I mean,
you don't defeat the Demon.
No, and I think the Demon is better left for special and big events. So
I agree.
Maybe it is the time, and it'd be cool at some point too to see a Demon and either Jeff Hardy against each other or a Demon and Jeff Hardy team.
Both, honestly, would work. Would be very cool. Also, a Demon against Nakamura, or there's multiple possibilities.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think it is better saved for these type of stages. And I like that last time, the Demon listened to us. He uglied it.
Yeah.
He uglied it up. He messed it up. He made it sandpaper, man.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Okay. So I don't know. Obviously, we don't know order, but let's go to the tag team championships. We got the B team versus the Revival, and I'm calling it now. I've been calling it for years. It's the Revival's time.
You think?
Yep.
Oh. Well, I mean, I hope so.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I like the stuff the B team's doing.
What do you mean?
Though.
You hope so? What do you got against Joe and Bo?
Nothing. I just said I like what they're doing. But, I also would be kind of cool to see Revival win it and do a little chase there with the B team, right? It's the babyface team. So, I just, I like the B team thing. I'm just not sure how long the fluky win thing can work.
Exactly, yeah, but I am very happy that those two guys who are extremely talented, obviously have pedigree, that they're getting this opportunity to show what they can do.
And not only that, they kind of made
very happy about.
They kind of made the opportunity.
They made it happen
because they were like Mrs. Entourage or whatever, Ms. Tourage, wherever they were, and when Miz went away to film a movie, they were kind of there, like doing the promos and picking up, kind of keeping him relevant on TV and all that sort of thing. So, and they kind of stood out in that sense. So they kind of made their own path here with this. So when Miz switched shows and they were there, they kind of set the table for themselves going forward. So good for them.
Yeah, I mean, it is, but I truly think it's the Revival's time to take those things and run and have a bunch of great teams chasing them. And that's on the Raw side. On the Smackdown side, we got the Bludgeon Brothers versus New Day. And we had Harper on the show, and he talked about how much he loves working the New Day, so you know what you can expect when you get these two teams in there together. It's going to be a great match.
Yeah. Yeah. Shell, yeah.
Yep. Oh, Shell, yeah. Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens, Money in the Bank briefcase on the line. I don't know what they do there, because, like I said, I don't think Strowman needs the briefcase, man. It seems kind of like, why does a monster need a briefcase? But whatever.
You're doing the Money in the Bank briefcase match without a ladder. I don't know. I don't like. I agree with you. I don't think the monster babyface needs the cash in.
No,
I think that
unless it's a straight match, and then it just wears a character like Owens, man.
Yeah, he could have some fun with that for a friggin'
year.
Mileage. Yeah.
So did you just burp? You just under burped.
No, I didn't. I
heard it.
But yeah, I agree. Like said with a giant kick-ass baby face. If he tells you he's going to do something, he's probably just going to go do it. He doesn't need to sneak in the back door and get a cheap win for a world title, especially his first world title.
It's kind of the equivalent of, would you put the Money in the Bank briefcase with Taker?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Doesn't need it.
Doesn't need it.
So anyway, all right. U.S. Championship, Nakamura versus Jeff Hardy, the match that I thought should have been saved for this.
Yeah.
But hey,
What do you know? Yeah. Apparently.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
I think those two, when they're given this opportunity in this kind of stage, and hopefully this time they can really show what they can do together. Be a trippy little match. Ziggler Rollins IC Championship. We know what they can do, and now you add in a returning Ambrose who was jacked.
Yeah.
Looks like he put on 20 pounds. I don't know if he did or if he just reshaped it. But
no, he looks good. Looks big,
I like the hair. I like the look. I like the intensity. Now
he's always
a good time.
Yeah.
They could do something with this if they do it right.
Yeah, and he's got that. He's kind of got that Jeff Hardy thing about him too, right? Where something's just not quite right, but people have they're able to connect with him for whatever the reasons are.
There's an intangible thing that they like about him, but he also brings something that Jeff has. Jeff has a different thing. He has people believe that he's nuts and that he has a kick-ass quality, like a Terry Funk or even like a Cactus Jack type vibe. So it's they could really do a lot with him coming back now. And sometimes injuries strangely are the best thing for you. Yeah. Just when you're maybe feeling stale, not even getting stale, you might feel stale.
Right.
And I think he looked rejuvenated. So and back to the match, Ziggler, Rollins, they'll tear it up. It'll be great.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
Yeah. And
so this is what I want to talk about a little bit because it's a long time in the making, and I know I'm yapping too much, and I know we have a great guest this week. We have Mauro Ranallo, and we should really get to him at some point here.
Yeah.
But Daniel Bryan versus The Miz, and I want to talk about The Miz for a second because you talked about The Miz, Taraj, and you talked about you can go back in the history of Daniel Bryan and go back to like the NXT show that they did where Miz was his coach. And then you read an interview this week, like AJ Styles says it's the Miz TV thing that kickstarted Vince McMahon seeing something in him beyond a mid-card guy.
Yeah.
There's a recurring theme here.
Yeah.
The Miz.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The guy helps people. The guy has a way to get people watching his stuff to help other characters. And all the while he's helping himself. Sure, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But he is one of those characters and one of those guys who has the ability to truly help.
Well, see, that's the sign of
people. And I'm not saying Daniel Bryan wouldn't have got there on his own. He would have, and he did. But
I mean, and the thing is, too, the sign of a good worker is somebody that can raise them up another level, right? Or realize something else in their game. Like you said, not to say that wouldn't happen with Daniel Bryan because obviously he has that connection, but the whole association with Miz kind of got the ball rolling on that, right? Like, why is he paired with this guy? And, and I think that Miz is underrated in that sense of being able to have good matches and his promo cutting ability because it comes so natural and easy to him. I think that he's kind of a stalwart there where he goes out and he has solid to great performances every single time he goes out there. And he's got he's gotten up to that point where, he came in as this reality star guy that now has the ability to make people around him better. And that also is a testament to how serious he's taken his career and wanting to be the best that he can.
Yeah, and reinventing himself and, even just cutting that promo and talking smack, which basically sets up all of this, what's happening now. And, I think now people have started to realize, looking back at the kind of the work and the resume he's put together, it's like, whoa, hold on a second.
Yeah.
This guy's putting together a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
And if at the beginning of his career you had said that, people would have laughed you out of the building. Mm-hmm. And he has proved everybody wrong.
Right.
And so good for him. And I think it'll also be one of those matches that people are really invested in.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I got to quit flapping, but we still got like 4 more matches. So triple threat, women's SmackDown Championship, Carmella, Becky Lynch, Charlotte.
Hey, hold on a second. Well, we have more on hold. Do you want him to just throw them on and we'll talk about these last matches?
Yes.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
We got Mauro Ranallo on hold.
Yeah, we got Mauro Ranallo.
I'm so smart.
I'm going to leave it
that
hanging.
I'm so smart.
Hiring is challenging, but there's one place you can go where hiring is simple, fast, and smart. A place where growing businesses connect to qualified candidates, and that place is ZipRecruiter.com/awesomeness. ZipRecruiter sends your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards, but they don't stop there. With their powerful matching technology, ZipRecruiter scans thousands of resumes to find people with the right experience and invite them to apply to your job. As applications come in, ZipRecruiter analyzes each one and spotlights the top candidates so you never miss a great match. ZipRecruiter is so effective that 80%, I said 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. And that's saying something. With results like that, it's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the highest rated hiring site in America. And right now, my listeners, that's right, because Christian isn't here because he's a jobber. My listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/awesomeness. That's ZipRecruiter.com/awesomeness. AWESOMENESS. Whew. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Mauro!
Woo!
What's up, buddy?
How are you guys?
What's up?
Well, me and Jay are flapper gums. We're all fired up. We're going over the Summerslam card. We're down to the last 4 matches. And then Jay, which is strange, has a great idea. He says, let's get Mauro on the horn here, and he can talk about the last 4 matches with us.
Well, it's quite the robust lineup, isn't it, for SummerSlam? How long have you gone through the card thus far? You made it to match 11, I guess.
Well, first of all, we put ourselves over in our own SummerSlam matches for like 20 to 25 minutes, and we breezed over these in about 3 minutes.
You could go hours talking about your legendary forays in the squared circles. All kidding aside, guys, really happy to be on with a couple of fellow Canucks here, and I'm honored to be on the award-winning, critically acclaimed Edge and Christian podcast.
Whoa.
Well, thanks.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are critical of it. I don't know if it's acclaimed.
Oh, man. So, okay, which matches do you want to, where are we striking a match to here? What are we going to set on fire?
So we're to the last 4. We're the 2 women's championships and the 2 men's championships. So basically, we set it up, man. You're here for the main events.
Oh.
You're here to bring it on home, buddy. And then we'll get into your storied story.
Well, so I'm not doing the honors to Coconut Willie. I don't have to. I don't have to look at the lights for Coconut Willie in this segment. I'm okay.
Nobody's going to read the bottom of your boots.
Yeah, or the.
But hey, okay. Well, let's talk about the women. Let's talk about, first of all, your significant other, Mr. Edge, and what she has been doing on the microphone with us at the Mae Young Classic bracketology, of course, the all women's tournament. And I mean, has there ever been a better time for the distaff division in our wonderful world of sports entertainment? When you look at the 2 main events coming up at SummerSlam and the personalities and the talents involved, and how all of our worlds collide, because I was very fortunate to call Ronda Rousey's mixed martial arts matchups where she was in the embryonic stages when she was on a run of 5-6 consecutive first-round arm bars. So the way she has taken to sports entertainment is like, the proverbial duck to water, and everyone is very excited about the Rousey and Alexa Bliss match on Sunday.
Well, it's the perfect storm, right? Everything has come together. The world, the rest of the world, and all of the changes that have been slowly building throughout the generations and the decades, and that the Natties and the Beths and the Medusas and the Litas and the Trishas and the Ivories have all been putting down the groundwork to be able to get it where it is now, where you now have.
Are you being arrested?
Are you being arrested?
I'm being. Well, it's my first day in paradise, known as Santa Monica, California, and the cops are already on to me. I'm actually also, you guys get me. You talk about a perfect storm. No lie. I always wanted to. I was inspired by Hank Moody and Jack Tripper. And I said, one of these days, I'm going to move to Santa Monica. And today is my first official day in Santa Monica. So I'm outside of the beach, my friends. Don't hate.
So you're commemorating Santa Monica, arriving in Santa Monica by talking to us, and then you're going to go to the Regal Beagle.
Yeah.
as long as Greedy Gretchen is down there, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah. But don't worry, Larry Dallas will be your wingman then. So
Larry Dallas.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Furley will show up, and then Mr. Roper too.
Yeah.
This is called tangential information, everyone. The tangents are already flying. I love it.
Yeah. And we're not aging ourselves at all with these references, which is great.
No, of course not.
But yeah, you talk about Rousey. You talk about everything that she's done, from the bronze in the Olympics to Bellator to then UFC and what she did there, and now coming over here and, like you said, take it like a duck to water, and really with a division that already has eyeballs all over it, and then you inject her into this thing, and it jumps even further.
Yeah, she of course brings that element of danger, like authentic, real danger. Just watching her in her even the match against Alicia Fox, her first official match in Raw, and looking at what she has done thus far, I think why she is connected so much is that she is legitimately a badass. We know what she accomplished in MMA, but we can talk all day about what Ronda Rousey's done, but she's opened the doors for people like Shayna Baszler, who of course is defending her title this weekend, but the entire four horsewomen. And I think this is going to open the door for even more female mixed martial artists, that once they hang up the gloves in the cage or ring of the MMA arena, that there may be an opportunity to continue their career here in WWE, because Ronda Rousey is she blew me away. And again, I had high expectations, but her commitment and talking to people down at the Performance Center, and there was no diva attitude, there was no huge star attitude. I mean, she's one of the most famous athletes on the planet, and she came in, she wanted to learn, she put her nose to the grindstone, and I think she is again exceeding expectations thus far.
Yeah, and it shows. It really does. And and if you want to, you talk about the dangerous element, and it really is. She's reminiscent of Brock in terms of that dangerous feeling when he's in there. And it really does speak to the fact that you got Cain Velasquez down there now, and popping in for a visit. It's like, okay, all right. I think everyone's understanding that these things, they're on the same tree. They're just different branches. And
yeah, and you're right. I mean, look at Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, which I know is another match that everyone is looking forward to at SummerSlam. And I had Samoa Joe on an old radio show of mine talking about the hybrid, the mix between mixed martial arts today and professional wrestling / sports entertainment, and how certain individuals are incorporating the shoot style maneuvers. I mean, we have AJ Styles with his calf crusher. We have the different type of submission hold by Samoa Joe and others. And I think that's what lends itself to a cross-pollination. Because I've been fortunate enough to call all combat sports, you always get that, how can you be a boxing fan and be a wrestling fan or an MMA? I mean, we're all related. And the fact is, when it comes to marketing and promotion, everyone learned from Vince McMahon in the WWE playbook, and from Floyd Mayweather to Conor McGregor to everyone else. So the fact that we're seeing people like Ronda Rousey, and as you mentioned, Cain Velasquez is now at the Performance Center, and even Brock Lesnar, it speaks to where we're at in the evolution of our business.
Well, yeah, and you got a guy like Kyle O'Reilly down there, and he's really mixing things and styles in a very cool way, And so it's a very cool time, and it's such a cool transition in changing the style and still having, some of the old school, for lack of a better term, things, but incorporating kind of what needs to happen in order to keep everyone interested going forward. So I think a Ronda, a Brock, a Cain, a Kyle O'Reilly, a Shayna is all good stuff, and it's an exciting time to be watching.
Well, look at the rise. Look at the rise of fight choreography. You got, and by the way, a fantastic job with what you're doing in your acting career. And I know, Christian, the same thing, but I talked to Beth about Vikings, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you more on that screen. But the evolution of fight choreography now in Hollywood, taking a page out of MMA and shoot fighting. I mean, certain things that you thought would work in a fight, obviously we're learning now you don't have to be the biggest giant. That Hoist Gracie and everyone showed that back in the day with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and now with Ronda Rousey and her arm bars and her submission game, we're seeing it across all platforms of entertainment in terms of evolving when it comes to fight choreography even.
Yeah, and I'm actually in the midst of doing one crazy multiple, and it's so much fun, and it really is reminiscent to what I did. So it feels like I'm back in my wheelhouse, kind of thing. But nice. It does speak to that, that these stunt folks. They're also of similar mindset too. They have the same mentality and and you see it as soon as you walk in. I'm like, oh, these are my people.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so Alexa Bliss, enough can't be said about her either, and being kind of the perfect foil for Ronda Rousey too. Like, well, what a perfect matchup and a perfect, plate to be set for SummerSlam.
Yeah, and Alexa Bliss, like you say, I was very fortunate to cover her rise when I was doing Smackdown, and just how she has, and again, this is one area where even on Monday with Ronda Rousey having to address the untimely passing of a man who meant so much to all of us, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, but the way Ronda delivered that in the ring, and again, knowing her the way I do from the MMA background, and we could even go back to Ken Shamrock, who was another one of the first, where what I'm getting at is the promos where in a certain arena you would think, well, this is their wheelhouse, they're gonna ace this, and then they find, it's maybe not as easy as we thought. But I think Alexa Bliss, amazing athlete, tremendously talented in the ring, but the way she has developed her character and the way she owns the microphone and her mannerisms and her body language and her timing, I really think, like you mentioned, she is the perfect foil for Ronda Rousey, and just the little plot points that they put in leading up to this match, worthy of the second biggest pay-per-view event on the WWE calendar. I can't think right now, other than, Natty, who of course is another person who trained in the dungeon and shoot fighting and also has helped Ronda Rousey greatly. And, I just want to say publicly my condolences to the Hart family and their loss. But getting back to Alexa Bliss, you guys, she's money. And I wouldn't be so surprised. I know everyone thinks maybe this is the coronation of Ronda Rousey, and it could culminate with that. But I'm so high on Alexa Bliss that I would not mind seeing her walk out of SummerSlam with the championship.
And I've said the same thing, and I always say this about her, and Adam always points out, I always say she's a good little heel. And Adam's like, you always call her a good little heel. Yeah, because she's 5 feet tall. But I mean, I just, same thing. I think she's got, the swagger. I think she's great on the mic, and obviously the ring skills to back it up as well. And she's very confident. And once you're confident and believe in what you're doing, everything else comes pretty easy.
Wasn't it nice, though, you used the phrase healed, or the word healed. It's not a phrase. It could be in some languages, I guess. But how we look at our, again, the sport, we know that people, I mean, the rise of merchandise sales and everything else, wanting to maybe branch out of your career. But to me, I look at the lay of the land right now, and you look at an Alexa Bliss, you look at a Kevin Owens, you look at Samoa Joe, and of course, at the top of my totem pole right now, and I got vested interest in this, but is there anyone doing it better, both on social media and taking that medium and utilizing it to the greatest benefit than Tommaso Ciampa?
Yeah, no, he's great. And we talked about it too, right? And I'd said this before. To me, in NXT, if anybody really there's so much talent there, and it's hard to stand out when there's that much talent. But if somebody really wanted to separate themselves and be different, just be a pure heel with no redeeming qualities.
Amen.
Make you stand
and look what
out
happened.
there.
They've taken a story. They've taken a story that's over. In this day and age, you guys know this very well. It's the 24-hour news cycle, and in our business too, it's like, okay, this is the rivalry, this is the payoff, and on we go. They have managed to make this a year and a half's worth of compelling programming that continues to, again, to me, Gargano and Ciampa, in many ways are, and I know hyperbole, and I know I'm the guy that always I hype stuff up, but I liken it to what, Flair and Steamboat were able to do as well, because not only is there the drama outside of the ring, but once the bell goes, and I think that's something I hope people don't overlook. Tommaso Ciampa, as much of a heel as he is, bell to bell, these two are two of the best. And that's, I think, as well, what we're seeing in this day and age. You can be that nasty heel and still deliver in the ring. Do you know what I'm saying? And so I think, and you know, to go right back to Alexa Bliss, that's for her experience level. It is incredible. And it's just shows me where, you know, the future is in very good hands when it comes to the next generation of talent.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because she hasn't even hit her prime. That's the thing. Like, I was watching her in NXT and I was like, everyone's talking about the horsewomen, and I get it.
Yep.
I get why they're talking about those four. But I was watching her and I went, she's got something here. She has athletic ability. She's putting together the pieces. She has the look. This is a dark horse here. And then all of a sudden, ba-bam. And, you know, obviously someone else saw the same thing. And then she took it and ran. And so I'm looking forward to that match. It's going to be a fun match. Now, I'm also, and I want to get back to Ciampa and Gargano. Don't get me started on those two. But I got to talk about Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Carmella. Because I'm really, you know, I said it at the Money in the Bank that every time Becky touched that ladder, the audience clearly and definitively told us that they want her to get a proper run as champion.
And she deserves it.
She absolutely does. And so I'm very intrigued to see where they go in that match, because it's triple threat. And Carmella is knocking it out of the park as a heel, and Charlotte is Charlotte. She always will be, you know, and that's special. So you can go in any direction. So that's going to be a fun one to watch too.
Well, and you look, I mean, all three of those characters are incredible. Starting with Charlotte, you know, we talk about Alexa Bliss, and I mean, but the women in general, man, and Charlotte has the Flair name. There was no greater pressure than being the offspring of one of the all-time greats, and yet look what she's been able to manifest and make her own, and what you talk about pure athleticism, and that's I mean, even going back to what, you know, what you guys were doing with the Dudleys and the Hardy Boys and that style, and how you guys revolutionized the sport. We are seeing now what the women are doing. The athleticism is second to none, and goes. I'm not taking away from any other generation. We just see it in other sports. You guys love other sports. Hockey. Look at hockey. Look at football. Look at basketball. Right. Every sport, the athletes are becoming more and more imposing and better. And with Charlotte, you know, there's a reason she's on on ESPN Body magazine like Ronda Rousey was. And with Becky Lynch, you know, unbiased or not, I met Becky when she was working in Vancouver, where, you know, Kyle O'Reilly got a start. Natty was there as well back during the Supergirls era, back in 2005, I believe. She was 18 years old, on her own from her native Ireland, and I'm looking at her going, wow, this, again, you know, when people have the it factor. Natty had it, Kyle O'Reilly had it, and Becky Lynch has it in spades. And not only that, she is the sweetest soul you'll ever want to meet, and just like all of them, and I'm not trying to just single out, but because I have a personal friendship with Becky, I know how much she wants it, and I know how much she deserves it, and you guys already mentioned it. You can't manufacture the connection.
That. Yeah.
You need, you guys know for a fact, when you make money is when you connect with the crowd. When the crowd connects with you and wants to be on that journey with you, you've got it made. And Becky's had to overcome her own trials and tribulations. As he mentioned, there's an embarrassment of riches when it comes to the talent pool. Not everyone can get the spotlight maybe when they want. But I think the planets have aligned in favor of Becky Lynch, and I'm really looking forward to this triple threat match because of the different dynamics. And let's not forget Carmella. Did you think she would be the last one standing out of the trio that she debuted with? I'm being honest. Right. I didn't think so.
Yeah,
and she's,
sure.
Again, someone who comes from a completely different world, second generation. But this is what really impresses me here, is that we are living in an age where there's more hardcore fans than ever before, and spending more, but the athletes and the entertainers and the workers, for lack of a better term, realize that this is an opportunity to just really show the world what they are capable of, and SummerSlam is the stage to do it on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, and that brings up a point. Well, like you said, there's more hardcore fans than ever, so that brings me to AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. That's a hardcore fan's dream.
Yes.
Well, and the thing is too, it's a match.
But the flip side of that, Brock and Roman, is not a hardcore fan's dream. So it's a really interesting dichotomy in that you could have the entire building just revolt to the one match, and not that I'm saying that's warranted, because I don't think it is. I think both guys are super talented, but in terms of, somebody not showing up often and the other perceived to be shoved down throats, you have that reaction, and then you have hardcore fans, for lack of a better term, darlings with Joe and AJ Styles. Mm-hmm.
Jay, you were going to say something. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, with the the hardcore fans, of a match with guys like AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, hardcore fans, that's something they can really sink their teeth into. But we've seen that match in TNA years ago, right? In many different forms, whether it was X Division or later. In like even world title matches. World title matches. But this is obviously a bigger stage for both of them, and both of them have evolved as performers and characters. And, getting to do this, I think, on the big stage and knowing the history they've had, I think that they are going to bring something pretty special and different than what we've seen before, because both guys have grown so much as performers, like I said.
And that's, we talk about the hardcore fans, and God, bless them. That's why I'm collecting a check and everything else. But we also understand that WWE is global, and WWE is sports entertainment and has to cater to everyone. And I've had to, learn to accept that as much as I want to, my thing. And I think that's why NXT has been a perfect fit for me, is that I love telling the stories in the ring. And yes, I know about character development, and I know about promos, and really, as another aside, the most underrated and underappreciated person I know, and I know this from firsthand, is Michael Cole, with what he has to do Monday night, 3 hours of like that. That's almost like you're promoting the pay-per-views. You're promoting the brand. You have to do traffic. You have to throw the features. It's a very high stress position that I think he really deserves a lot more credit for. But when it comes to again, the hardcores, and you say like Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, I think sometimes the crowd, and I'm not wanting to be critical or anything, but you pay your money, you're allowed to do what you want. But if you're going to, get on this one journey, then try to appreciate what is being done with these others. It's like any other variety show or any event. You're not always going to like everything, but I think Brock Lesnar, and especially Roman Reigns, man, Reigns has busted his ass day in and day out. I've seen backstage when I was working with him how respectful he is to everyone, and how, again, committed he is to his craft. He can only do what is asked of him, and I think he does it extremely well. And with Brock, again, there's this aura of, he doesn't give a beep, and he's his own, he's anarchy, and I think that's what makes him so compelling. So you're right, we're going to get two different stories, but I still believe that they can still be two compelling stories, although Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, from a broadcaster's point of view, I mean, that's the kind of match I want to call.
Yeah, and I don't know which way either goes, but I am going to want to watch both of them. So they've done their job.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So we talked about Summerslam. We got to talk about you, man. I mean, that's the point of this whole thing. Is talk about you. And I have a feeling that we could talk about everything else all day. So.
Well, no, but it's like, it's like, what's he saying? Forget about me. What about you guys? What do you think of me?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Forget about me. What do you think about me? Yeah.
I know that phrase very, very well.
Oh, my God. Yes, right. But anyway, whatever you guys want to ask, I'm an open book, as they say.
It's funny for me because we in a sense, like, I grew up watching you, and I didn't realize at the time like how young you were, like how close in age you were, probably to me at that time too, where I was watching the BC All-Star Wrestling from Vancouver. It took place in a studio, and we got that on whenever it was Saturday afternoons or Sunday afternoons. I can't remember what day it was, but I watched
Saturday afternoons.
I watched it every single week, and Mauro Ranallo was the host of the show, and you did the commentary. But I just remember like these characters like the Frog, Spider Web, Ole Olsen, Wojo the BC Hulk, what was the guy that had Michelle Starr.
And Michelle Starr, he actually came when I was there, because I started at 16 in 1986. Yeah. And the guy who probably became the biggest, well, by far the biggest star we had was John Tenta, who went on to become Earthquake, and rest in power to him as well. But yeah, it was, the 80s, my friend. It was Vince had already began his expansion, and for whatever reason, and again, I will go to my grave saying so, there is no me without the late Al Tomko, and the promoter who gave me my start. So, well, and just years old then.
To think that you started at 16, I mean, that is crazy because we are all of similar age. So, yeah, to Jay's point, we were sitting there watching BC All-Star Wrestling and going, just not understanding that someone that young could be on TV.
and believe me, I couldn't understand it. I didn't understand it. Like, this is, again, 1986, the 3-channel universe, and has been, well documented, and I don't want to ramble like I care to do at times, but I always knew what I wanted to do, probably much like yourself, guys. I know about the letter, Adam, and I mean, you guys are living your dream. I'm living, we are very fortunate in our business to be living our dreams. Otherwise, why would we do it? You know what I mean? Right. This is something you either are born to do, and I truly believe that, or if it comes by happenstance that you were able to get an opportunity and you fall in love with it, that's great. Yep. For me, I grew up watching All-Star Wrestling when it was a much higher level. I mean, I was very fortunate in my youth to see Gene Kiniski, Don Leo Jonathan, the Funk Brothers would come to Vancouver, but then Roddy Piper, Rick Martel, the Sheepherders, Playboy Buddy Rose, all of the talent from Don Owens, Portland Wrestling. So for me, when I was discovered in my high school, and this were, probably the death knell was sounding, as you guys probably know, it was a studio on BCTV. We would draw a couple hundred people at the Alice McKay Products Building in Cloverdale, British Columbia, but it was, for me, the best school I ever took. I never went to college for broadcasting. I never, there's no post-secondary education. I was discovered in my senior year at high school in Abbotsford, BC, and I was doing the ring announcing for them on a charity show where Al Tomko asked if, anyone could use the mic. He had to take care of business in the back. And then from a couple weeks later, for 52 weeks a year, 52 Saturdays a year from 1987, 88, and into 89, I was on TV every Saturday in one form or another, either as a color commentator or as a heel manager. And some of that footage now has been, used in the documentary that Showtime produced about my life. And I think people now are realizing, holy shit, this guy has more than a lifer in this business. Yeah. Sure, it took him until he was 46 to get to WWE, but the guy's been, I've been hoeing the road, as they say.
Well, exactly. Like, we know that because we saw you then. But some people, first hear your voice with Pride, or they first hear, or Bellator, or you've
Showtime
worn
Boxing.
so many. Showtime, Mayweather, McGregor. I mean, you've worn so many hats and been involved in so many massive moments. And I remember, like, I got all the Pride DVDs, and I remember like sitting there listening. I was like, "Wait, is that?" That's the dude from BC All-Star Wrestling with Boss Rutan? What is happening here? I remember that going through my head.
I was like, wait. I was like, wait, where's Moose Morawski?
Where's Diamond Timothy Flowers?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, this doesn't make sense.
It's awesome. That is so amazing. But again, I've been told I'm the Forrest Gump of broadcasting, and I think it's true, you guys, because I have found myself in places, and like you say, and again, I don't want to run through the resume or, put myself over by any means. This is not about this. It's just, for me, my life, I think, is the metaphor is, you just, and like you guys too, dude, I truly wanted to do as much as I can. Life is, as we know, we just lost Jim Neidhart. I've lost a lot of people in my life. Life is never guaranteed. There's no guarantees we see the next minute, let alone tomorrow. And from a young age, I just put myself in a position to say, you know what? I could fail. I could end up, whatever, but I'm going to do whatever it takes to live my dreams. And even now, again, here I am about to turn 49, and I moved to Santa Monica, California, another bucket list of places. So for my career, there have been so many people responsible. And you mentioned the biggest one was Boss Rutan. And Al Tomko. And that's what I mean. We all need help. We all need friends. We all need connections. We all need, but you know what?
Yeah. And I remember too, flipping through the channels late at night one night. And I think it was called, I'm not sure what the name of it was. Was it MMA Hour? Was that what it was called with you and Boss Rutan?
The MMA show. The MMA show in Canada.
And I was like,
right.
Yeah. And I was like, man, like he's hosting a show with Boss Rutan. Like that. I mean, it's you've just worn so many hats and done everything so well. That's the thing.
I appreciate that.
Well, but you speak about, needing friends to help you out here and there. And granted, that's true. I've always said that people can open the door a crack for you, but at a certain time, you have to kick it open yourself. And you have. Sure. And I think what resonates with people and what resonates with a fan base watching is, like we've talked about, they can tell you're a fan. They can tell you legitimately enjoy what you are calling, and that you can feel that. Like when I hear you call NXT, I'm like, he loves this product.
Oh man, but I appreciate that, and you're absolutely right. But again, how can you not, though, if that's what you choose to do? And yes, we're telling a story, I'm painting a picture, and I do realize, and again, I'm not we all come with haters and critics, and I've always strived to get better. But for me, the reason I think pro wrestling and sports entertainment is such a good fit was because I've always been a pro wrestling commentator. Everyone, right. I remember people thought they were criticizing me in MMA and boxing. You sound like a pro wrestling announcer. Yeah. Well, thank you. I am. and now, thankfully, people at Showtime and all my employers, they realize that this is entertainment. Yes, it's sports. Yes, it's athleticism. Yes, it's danger. But it's also, you have to keep people intrigued. And for me, that's how I approach it. I'm trying to paint a different picture every match for every character, and I'm coming up with different ways to try to put over these characters. My job is to get you invested, is to get you to pay money to see these people perform. And in the midst of that, I'm also in my mind going, holy shit. I watched you guys. I would be doing this, and I hate to say it out loud, but for free. And it's a cliche, but it's true. And for many years, as you guys probably know, I think you survived some hell tours up north. Yeah. I can do it for free.
Yeah.
So it's whatever it takes. But for me, it is true to my core. I love to paint pictures with words. I love the spoken language. I love, and in wrestling, you get the highs and lows. And sure, there have been, you have to tweak your style. And even with WWE, I understand there's more storytelling than maybe actual calling of the moves. But again, bless Vince and Triple H and Michael and everyone, they have allowed me to be me. When they approached me, and when Michael Cole first emailed me when they were going to launch in USA, I actually had trepidation. I'm like, well, I love the product, obviously. I'm a big fan, but I know how, the announcing goes, and I don't know if I can do what they want because that's not me. And sure enough, they did let me be me. And sure, I have to work within the parameters of they're the ones who signed the checks, but for the most part, and I think NXT TakeOver New Orleans, and I get emotional about it, but the fact that, I was at ringside for that 6-man ladder match, and then the main event, Gargano and Ciampa, and everything in between. And then they put out that video of my reactions, which I never expected. And honestly, when I first saw it, I was like, is that really me? Because that's kind of crazy. You don't see any announcer do that, and maybe we're not supposed to do that. I don't give a shit. That's who I am, and that's obviously being celebrated now, and for as long as it lasts, I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, and it should be celebrated because it is an immensely difficult job. And you mentioned Beth, and she has told me how difficult it is. And she's like, my God, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. And this is a woman who is raising 2 children and getting her master's in clinical psychology as we speak, after having a career in WWE. So she knows difficult. And she, in order to do it and do it well, it is such a skill, especially like you said, in today's climate of the, social media and people's attention spans being all over the place. For you to be able to help hold attention to a product, that is a difficult job. And the fact, I think your excitement helps with that.
Well, I think too, it's not like it from my perspective, it's like, and what goes back to what you just said, like you would do what you do for free. Don't tell anybody, right? Because you love what you do, and it's not about a paycheck. What you're reacting to is your real reaction. It's not a forced reaction. It's like almost having an out of body experience because you're announcing this, but you're also watching it as a fan. And that, to me, that it comes across as how important and how big these moments are when a fan is telling you You don't, if that makes any sense.
Well, no, and I hear that, and you know what, and I appreciate it, guys, but it's like anything else, and I'm my own worst critic. I don't know what you guys were with your matches or whatnot, but honestly, I can watch a few minutes, I hear my mistakes, and I'm like, F you, Ranallo, do it over again.
Yeah.
When reacting, I know I can temper, like, I guess what I'm saying is I'm my own worst critic because, honestly, when I do look back, I go, well, man, you were nuts there. Well, I don't want to overshadow the product. And I've had these discussions even with Hunter and Michael and everybody else. I realize that right now I'm having this moment of, hey, with the documentary and this mental health advocacy and then NXT that, yeah, I think I'm probably the most popular, quote unquote, as I'll ever be in my life. But again, and I say this, honestly, not just being Canadian and not just trying to humble brag. To me, I am a fan first and foremost. The fact that I get to make a healthy living, having the best seat in the house, getting to describe, like getting to put words to their music. And again, I have a musical background too. I fool around on my keys. I was a DJ. I get it all, guys, just like you guys. There's a reason you guys are as successful as you guys are. We don't close the door on anything in our minds. And I look what Chris Jericho has been doing and a lot of people in this industry. I want to entertain guys. The world is a shitty place, man, and it's scarier and scarier. I want people for the hour that I'm calling NXT or 2 hours of calling Takeover or listening to your podcast or doing whatever for people to escape and enjoy. And
right.
and we talk about connecting as the performer in the ring. Well, judging by the feedback I get in my email and even on social media is, I guess I am connecting with people, and that's all we can ask for. And then as long as they keep watching and keep enjoying the fruits of these, especially in NXT, the next generation's labor, then I've done my job. So it's really incredible for me to even be, again, talking to you guys. I'm not joking. I mean, I love being in this business. I love being around people who've done incredible things in this business.
Well, I appreciate that, but I want to talk about the incredible things you've done. So,
when I do my show again, you guys will come on, and I'll be the one putting the spotlight or the hanging 60-watt bulb on you in that dark dungeon, and I'll be the interrogator.
No matter what you do in the bathroom to get ready, Dollar Shave Club has everything you need to look, feel, and smell your best. And I need help with the smell. Trust me. Guess what? The amber and lavender body wash left my skin feeling great and smelling superb. But that's how I get ready. You're not me. You have your own way to get ready. You might shave your whole body to get ready for a bike race. Well, Dollar Shave Club's executive razor and shave butter can help you with that. You might do your hair to get ready for your soccer match. Boogies by DSC can help you get your style right. The thing is, no matter what you do to get ready, DSC has everything you need. And right now, you can get ready with an amazing deal on any one of their starter sets. I recommend the Daily Essentials starter set because I love the Amber Lavender Body Cleanser, like I said, but you can't go wrong with any of them. Head over to dollarshaveclub.com/awesomeness to pick your own DSC starter set for just $5 after your starter set products ship at a regular price. And make sure you check out their new video too. That's dollarshaveclub.com/awesomeness. dollarshaveclub.com/awesomeness. Out of all the things that you've done, I mean, let's talk about Pride, because like I said, I watched all of those DVDs and listened to all of that. How it was so different and revolutionary, and it just, you had Vanderlei and you had all of these beasts. What was it like to sit down with a guy like Boss and call those?
It was, you said the out-of-body experience, and this is a true story, and it happened every show, and I get goosebumps right now. Boss would write right before going to air, 2 out of 7 billion. So signifying, look, how lucky are we that we're sitting here tonight. And guys, no, and I've said this before, I wish every human being that I know and I respect and I care about had an opportunity to be at Saitama Super Arena during the halcyon days of Pride Fighting Championships. Fuji TV would spend $5 million a show on production value. It literally was WrestleMania every event, guys. It was
Wow.
the Super Bowl meets WrestleMania meets Cirque du Soleil meets a rock concert. And it was born out of professional wrestling. Sakata, Sakuraba, the Japanese got it, man, way back before it was, cool to get it here with the rise of the Ultimate Fighter in 2005. But to sum it up, think of it. And again, this is the Forrest Gump in me. My first show was Bushido 1 in October of 2003. In the main event was Mirko Krokop, at the time one of the most feared, most devastating strikers in the sport, against a masked luchador by the name of Dos Caras Jr., a.k.a. Alberto Del Rio.
Wow.
Here you have Mauro Ranallo, a pro wrestling announcer, become mixed martial artist, and look who's in the main event. So right from there, I said, this is going to fit me like a glove. And to be able to call the legendary rise of Mauricio Shogun Hua, who went through the light heavyweight tournament when he was 23 years old, Fedor versus Mirko, the rise of Takanori Gomi. There's just too many, like you say, Vanderlei Silva, but I did this for 3 years, flying out of Vancouver to Japan 10 times a year minimum, so 30 times in 3 years with Boss Rutan, and we were living the life, my friend, and there is nothing when I went to Dallas at Cowboy Stadium for WrestleMania to do the kickoff show with Jerry Lawler and Byron Saxton, my first WrestleMania, and I look around, nearly 100,000 people, I'm thinking, wow, this is, and this is WrestleMania, but to me it was like Pride Fighting Championships, and that's the biggest compliment I can give to Pride FC.
Man.
Yeah. I loved watching it. It had that feel of revolutionary.
Yeah, it's funny too. I remember watching so much of it on YouTube at the back in the day, right? Like just because that's the only way I could really get it. And I just
because it was in the middle of the night here because of Japanese time. That's what hurt it actually in North America, was that because of the time difference. It was you talk about hardcores. That was the hardest of the hardcore. But go ahead, Jay.
I just remember I couldn't figure out Fedor. Like he just looked like someone's dad that got off the couch and went in and beat everybody's ass. I was like he looked like he was half asleep sitting in the corner, and it's like, I was just like,
awesome.
I remember watching specifically with Kevin Randleman back suplex him like right on his head.
Oh my
God! This guy's dead. He's dead. And he gets up like 30 seconds later and knocks the guy out. It's like, what did I just see? So,
but that's the cold, hard. It's funny you say that because his brother, similar. His brother actually became a major criminal. Don't want to say too much about him, but Alexander.
I know who he is. Yeah.
There are a few of them in that promotion, but that's for another book, another story.
Yeah.
But we had Alexander Emelianenko, and just to your point, Jay, he was fighting James Thompson. Thompson is this huge, muscled up, raging bull in the corner, and there's Alexander Emelianenko. Looks like he just got up out of bed, hair's muscled, nondescript look on his face.
Yeah.
11 seconds later, knockout win for Alexander Emelianenko.
Yeah.
It was just like another day at the office. That's who they are. And Fedor, that's exactly what made him, I think in many ways, and yet different, but, Brock Lesnar doesn't have to say anything. Thankfully, he has the greatest man on the microphone in history with Paul Heyman to do what he's doing, but that was Fedor, that's Brock. It's just their aura that lets you know they're for real.
Yeah. Fedor always reminded me of Dory Funk Jr.
Yes.
Just the way they handled themselves and the way, I was like, oh, he's the Dory of MMA. Got it.
The 16th NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Dory Funk Jr., beat Gene Kaniski, another fellow Canadian. Sorry to show my nerddom here, guys.
Yeah. I like that you use the nerd voice. I do it on here repeatedly, so I'm not the only one, thankfully. So, and I remember like Sakuraba, and I remember watching him and Gracie and going, what is happening here? He's doing fist drops. Like, what?
Sakuraba got it, you guys. He brought pro wrestling to Pride, and the greatest thing there, he became the Gracie Hunter, the Gracie Killer, the only person to beat 4 members of the legendary Gracie family. But he would come to the ring in the original Tiger Mask, Satoru Sayama mask, or Van Vader. He would Road Warriors. Like, this guy was, again, a pro wrestler who is doing quote unquote shoot fighting with and real fight, and in a way it's almost sad for me to see how it's like any promotion, right? A promoter's job is to get as much out of the commodity or the talent as they can, because that's what they're in business for. And Sakuraba, man, he got fed to the wolves. I mean, some of it looking back now, and even I'm not lying. This is now going back 13 years for me. Pride was amazing, but Pride was also maybe the most brutal, violent thing I hope to ever be subjected to. And speaking of Vanderlei Silva, Yuki Kondo, who was, again, an early pancrase fighter, in Pride, you were allowed to stomp their heads. Like, you were allowed to soccer kick someone in the face. So Vanderlei was holding onto the top rope, which was illegal, by the way, and he was stomping Yuki Kondo's head. And at the moment, you know, there's Mauro just in the zealot, he's gonna stop it. You know, like, I'm just in it. And now looking back, I'm like, Mauro, you were calling an attempted murder. Like, it's, I'm glad that there's certain things that have evolved but that's again why it was so incredible. And you guys would get a kick out of this. Pride Fighting Championships, you would see the best looking young couples. I've never seen more well-dressed men and women, and I'm talking a lot of women who would come to these Pride Fighting events. And I'm like, people in North America wouldn't believe this. It's like the old days, I guess, of the Gladiator, but with a touch of some sophistication and class. And like I say, the production values were incredible. Like, if you guys get a chance, and even your listeners, if you're able to hunt it down on YouTube, the opening tease for the heavyweight championship fight between Fedor Emelianenko and Mirko Krokop, August 2005. Again, the hair is already standing on my arm. It's beyond anything Hollywood has ever done in any trailer, and I mean that. Go and watch it, and then tell me if you don't have goosebumps and are maybe shedding a tear or two. It's incredible what they did.
You know, and it's funny too for all the slag that, you know, thinking about, you know, those moments that pro wrestling gets, oh, it's fake, oh, it's phony and this and that. But, you know, as performers and also as, you know, as a commentator, it helps you understand the importance of telling a story. And whether it's like a quote unquote legit sporting event, there's still a story being told as it happens. And, you know, pro wrestling gives you the tools to express that in a different way.
Well, Jay, you just hit it. I mean, that's everything. Storytelling is everything. The only reason entertainment exists is storytelling. And with the rise in technology and everything, we're finding that out in football now. You know, I'm a sports fanatic. I've called all sports just like you guys. I mean, we grew up in Canada. I'm a hockey fan. I've called hundreds, if not thousands, of hockey games. I've done basketball. I approach everything I do with it's a story. We're putting over the storylines. You're putting over the stars. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of guys running around chasing a ball. It's a bunch of guys skating on the stick. You know what I mean? It's two guys in their underwear in a cave. It's all about stories. And I think, and different styles. People talk about, you know, look what Conor McGregor was able to do in such a short period of time. And of course, he got that from WWE. He can trash talk, of course. And look at Chael Sonnen. Look at all of Floyd Mayweather, you guys. People say about wrestling and sports entertainment. You know, I'm on the payroll now, guys. I got to get used to saying sports entertainment.
It goes all the way back to Muhammad Ali. You know,
Ali with Gorgeous George.
All of them. And so that's why, to me, it makes me laugh in this day and age. What's the old saying? There's two types of people. One who are wrestling fans and one who bullshit and lie that they're not wrestling fans. Everyone's watched wrestling at one time or another.
Yeah.
And if they haven't, they've watched someone who has been greatly influenced by.
Absolutely.
And maybe don't even realize, you know, what they're actually watching is derived from. You know, if you watched Ali, guess what? You watched elements of pro wrestling. Yeah.
All of it. I mean, and to me, that's what I think, even in terms of writing. And I think, you know, with what we're doing now with writers and stuff, I always think, well, I'm amazed at how many high-level, and again, I say this, you know, whether the comic book industry, I got a lot of people now following me that are artists or writers for DC or Marvel or writers of like Showtime or HBO shows or like Sons of Anarchy, like all these major Hollywood stories that still watch WWE for its storytelling. That's saying something, guys.
And I think, too, now you have a generation of folks who are in power positions who first got turned on to wrestling by the Rock and Wrestling Connection, by Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen, and
by the Attitude Era.
By the Attitude Era. And now,
we're old.
We are. We absolutely are. But now you have these people that are in power positions within you know, all of these companies, and you start to understand that, there's a reason that wrestling has been around so long. There's a reason that there's been companies like Pride and UFC that have been able to take off because, you know, at the base of all of it, it's storytelling.
Well, and it's funny because, again, I can only speak for myself, and the Forrest Gump bite us again, but the the fact that I'm allowed to do what I'm doing is incredible to me. Because, it's not supposed to happen. It's becoming more and more prominent, I guess, now. But I have a contract with Showtime Championship Boxing, and yet they allowed me to go and do WWE, which then I was doing MMA. I'm, Bellator MMA. But what I'm saying, the reason I'm saying this too, it's incredible how many people within all those companies are fans of the other product. And I've been and I get it. I think WWE and why Triple H is so far ahead of the game, one of the reasons they came after me is that in weird way, WWE is always looking to strive. They want that credibility. You know what I mean? More and more because of the reputation or our background. Like you say, we're the bastard form of entertainment, and yet everyone watches or whatnot. So I see the value I bring in terms of being a legit combat sports announcer. Conversely, holy shit, the reach of WWE and the impact it's had on my career. I've had people say I haven't watched boxing in a few years. I'm watching now. Or MMA. It's like, so I think everyone is realizing there's certain people or all of us in a way, shape, or form, we can help each other. And yes, it's still competition. And one of the things that really drives me crazy, but I understand there's all kinds of logistics, is how many Saturdays, and it is a Saturday, we have all these major events going against each other. There's 52 Saturdays in a year, I understand that. But what I'm saying is my biggest fear, and it's happened already, is that, I'm so blessed that there are times where I have to say no to one of my employers because of contracts and whatnot. And in a perfect world, I wish that didn't happen. But I think competition, it helps everybody. As we know, we need to stay sharp. We need to otherwise I believe, and even in myself, the more successful I get, the more I feel, holy shit, man, I'm really a fraud now, or I'm really going to screw this, because I need that in me. I need that voice telling me, you're still not anything, dude. You got to keep working hard, because as soon as we rest on our laurels, guys, and you guys have never done that, but you know what I mean, then it's over. So for me, I'm nearing 50, but I'm just getting started, is how I look at it.
Well, incredible that you're able to do Showtime That's kind of unheard of, to be perfectly honest. And think about all the ears that you've touched, over the years from all of these different. I mean, seriously, think about how many people have heard you call a fight or a match. But you speak about the competition aspect, and I remember when WWE bought WCW, I went, I don't know if this is a good thing. Yeah. But that being said, it truly feels now like, sure, there's Raw and Smackdown, but it feels to me like the competition is coming from NXT. And it feels like NXT is, by its very nature, it's young and it's hungry and chomping at the bit to show, hey, guess what? We're over here and we are doing our thing, and we think our thing is better than that thing. Would you agree with that?
100%, Adam. And honest, and we joke about this always. When Michael Cole first phoned me about working for WWE, I said, "Oh, is this for NXT?" And we started laughing. And he's like, "Well, no, we want you to, be the voice of our move to USA Network. This is going to be live." I'm like, "Oh, no, I'm excited. That's great." But honestly, and this is, again, going back to who I am, maybe the reason I even exist, but I love the underdog. I love the so-called not supposed to be much. We're supposed to be this developmental brand, and you're hungry to get to the main roster, which they all are. But I tell you something, man, in the last couple of years especially, and I've been blessed again, just like, I was hired to do Showtime Championship Boxing literally months before they purloined Floyd Mayweather from HBO. So again, Forrest Gump, because Floyd Mayweather changed the game. I come to NXT and I tell you guys again, look what I've already done just this year. I go from calling a match of the year between John Cena and AJ Styles at Royal Rumble last year for WWE, and then I come into NXT and it's like every single week, you guys, match, everyone's raving about these matches and these pay-per-views, and it is, and I say this publicly to you guys right now, and I go back to even what Vince and everyone told me one time, with the brand between Raw and SmackDown. Yes, we're all under the same umbrella, but there should be competition, and I believe there is, even maybe if it's not spoken. I know, I want WWE to succeed in all facets, but I want NXT to be the most talked about brand this weekend. And I hope that's what my bosses want me to believe, because I'm going into Barclays Center on Saturday knowing that SummerSlam is the next day, but I'm going to make sure that we're the show that's talked about this weekend. And it's not just me. Are you kidding? The talent speaks. Look at the matches. And I believe that's It should be competition. In fact, it should be scary competition. It should be like, holy shit, well, okay, we got to do this now, or you know what I mean? And I hope that it's looked at that way. I don't know truly if it is, but that's how I look at it. I want NXT to be the hottest, most talked about brand in the world. And it's a healthy time now for wrestling in all facets. But NXT is, to me, the best brand in sports entertainment. And I hope I don't get in trouble for saying it because I'm the voice of NXT. I got to say it.
I think that any performer should not just be happy with being where they're at. They should be always looking to move up and to, if you're not there to be at the top, then you might be there for the wrong reasons. Actually, you are there for the wrong reasons. So I think everybody should strive to whatever brand they're on, whatever match they're in, to make it the best. And we talked about it earlier in this podcast, the importance of like I remember one time showing up at the arena and being surprised that I was on Superstars. I'm thinking, well, why am I on Superstars? Well, guess what? Nobody's going to be able to follow me tonight because I'm going to go out there and have the best match on the show, and nobody's going to be able to follow it. So it's like, you look for things like that to motivate yourself, right? Like some of these NXT talent probably look at it like, hey, they look at us like we're not main, quote unquote, main roster, and go out and prove them wrong. So whatever that chip on your shoulder is, whatever you need for your motivation, use it.
And that's where you guys, and again, I'm not the boss by any means, but I look at it, there's already certain things in place. We need variety. And we're blessed with WWE because of the roster and the high quality of talent and the best production in the world and the global machine that it is. I get you can make Raw what it is. You could make SmackDown what it is, and now we got NXT for what it is. To me, there's different flavors. I have my parents, God bless them, that they're not as mobile anymore, but my dad, they're the reason I'm a wrestling fan. They came over from Italy with no money, no language, and watching, black and white TV in the 60s and seeing these guys tell a moral story in the ring. You know who the good guy is. You know the bad guy is. You don't need to understand the language, and it was an affordable form of entertainment. So I came out of the womb a wrestling fan, but what I'm saying is there are opportunities. And I think that's why what we're doing at NXT is what it is that it is different, and it's supposed to be different, and it should be different. And that's not to take away what the rest of the company's doing. But when I was on SmackDown, I wanted SmackDown to be Raw in the ratings every Monday. If I ever was on Raw, it was Showtime Boxing. I wanted to, the ratings to beat the competition. MMA, that's who I am. I get told by my producers, Mauro, that's our job. Don't worry yourself with that. That's who I am as a human being, guys. You're giving me money. You're allowing me to live the dream. Then we better be the best. Or what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah. And and as you said, you get to NXT and you get this storyline, this blood feud that has become Ciampa Gargano, and in terms of there's no other story in the industry that comes close right now, or has come close in a very long time, because in today's climate, they've been able to do something that is kind of unheard of, is to have this thing last as long as it has, but more importantly than that, last as long as it has, but be as compelling as it has for a amount of time.
I mean, you look, and that's, again, kudos to Triple H, Terry Taylor, William Regal, Robbie Brookside, Scott Garland, Michael Hayes, Shawn Michaels, you guys. I mean, and Norman, I see I'm going to go now and I'm going to forget some people because there's some, Steve Corino. The coaching at the Performance Center, Matt Bloom, the people in charge of the booking, the writing, and the character development are able to mold this clay, and yet you look at the talent itself, and that's where it starts and ends, right? You look at Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa and why it works, and I think why sports entertainment will continue to work as we go forward. We are, unlike other forms of entertainment, we are able to put, okay, here's a dash of reality. Here's that. Here for you smart marks. Here's for you casuals. Here. But what Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano are doing in this social media era where everyone's a smart mark. We know everything about everyone, and we know who's going to go over. We know. It's incredible. And we're all in this together, and that's really what I love about NXT. Whether you're the first match, and every match, there is no curtain jerker there. There really isn't, and there shouldn't be. The talent is incredible, but Ciampa and Gargano, because of their real life relationship in the past, what they've been able to do with it in terms of the angle is something, but once the bell rings, and what they did in Chicago, what they did in New Orleans, and again, guys, I have to put you guys over. It's what you guys were doing with the Dudleys and Hardy Boys. They're making history. We're going to be talking about this rivalry for years, like we're talking about you guys for years, and that to me is the biggest compliment you can get in this business, is that you did change the game. You did make your indelible imprint. And again, I get emotional. Call me a Mark, call me whatever. To me, if you're able to do that on this earth in your chosen profession where you can get the kind of reaction they are getting, holy crap, man, that is beautiful. That's better than sex. I said it and I'll say it again. Better than sex.
Well, and you're the soundtrack to their careers, so it's also.
And it's up to me. It's up to me to come up with. And people always say too, well, where do you come up with these references? You write them down. You do this. Hey, it's everything. It's whatever it is. Again, God bless him. As a 17-year-old, the BCTV studios, everything is full circle. Roddy Piper, mentioned before. That's where I first saw him, and I think really that was his launch pad. What he did in California, but what he did for Owens and in Vancouver, breaking the bottle over his forehead and the blood and his promos. This kid was 18, 19 at that time. He was at the studio, again, fortuitous, man. I'm there in the green room, and I see, holy fuck, Roddy Piper's here. This is after Vincent exploded, and he comes up to me, and he goes, hey, kid, he goes, I saw you, your promo. He goes, you're a natural. And I said, Jesus, what is going on here? And he goes, what do you, and he told me as a 17-year-old kid, he goes, do you write things down, or do you have a book? He goes, he would have a notebook or something of quotes and movie lines, and I'm like, wow, that's a good idea. And you can see it, and I get emotional now, man. He helped me so much just with that, and that's where I said I have to be different. And I was a radio and club DJ, and I've been a talk show host, and I'm that TV junkie nerd. And as you know, I've made, like even in TakeOver, I've made a reference to Infinity War. I know we have comic book fans or wrestling fans. I know we have hip-hop fans. I know we have metal fans. So I don't want to, it's not about, again, overshadowing, but if something I say can enhance, or I guess the other line I said, Champa, you vile creature, the way I said it, that came back to me. People were like, wow, that's the best way to describe it. So it's up to me, and it is tough. It's not easy, guys. I do as much prep as I can to try to keep it as fresh as I can, and to keep adding the layers to their chapters, because and sometimes the best part is not saying anything at all. And I'm learning to do that a little more as well, because sometimes the moment does speak for itself. And as I speak for all announcers, I know myself, I talk too much. I could lay out a little more. It's picking your spot. It's finding your, finding your lane, so to speak.
Well, as a performer, I know when I knew that the announcers, and for lack of a better term, had my back, I knew that they would help me tell the story that I was trying to get across. And I might bullet point them a few things earlier in the day. Say, listen, I'm going to do this. I'm trying to tell this story. Can you help me further that story along? It is such a relief to know that that's going to be taken care of. I can focus on this because they're going to help me tell this story. And as a performer, that is such a gift to know. And know that it's going to be this multi-headed beast coming, and that the viewers can hear as well. So it goes a long way to helping the performer tell the story.
Well, you know who's very good at that at NXT, and you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because again, everyone is different. We heard of, with one of my favorite matches ever, maybe yours as well, Ricky Steamboat, Randy Savage, WrestleMania 3, and we when I found out how that was put together so intricately, and I'm like, wow, blown away. I was still even more impressed, I think, because of that. And certain certain performers want to write everything out. Others call it on the fly, whatever.
Yep.
When going to NXT, Nikki Cross will always come to me and have a page just telling the story in bullet point form and saying, hey, what do you think of this shit? And I want you to do that. And I'm like, wow, you are so good. And Cassius Ohno, Chris, is another one, a veteran who still will come up and say, hey, guys, I just want to know this is a little subtle beat in the story here. And I'm like, man, you know how much we appreciate that? Because like you say, we're a team, man. As the announcer, we are just making sure you guys are as over as can be within that capacity. I mean, your talents and everything will speak for themselves, but you're right. I always say this, you're the music, we're the lyrics. And, my goal, honestly, is maybe I'll never get to it, but if I can write like Don Henley and Glenn Frey or even Tupac or Biggie, I'm okay. I'm a happy man.
Well, you're,
Well, I was going to say, if you can hit those harmonies, then we're doing something.
That's awesome. Well said. Well said.
Yeah. Well, we should probably let you get back to your first day here in Santa Monica.
Oh, I could talk to you guys all day. That's a wonderful.
Well, see, that's the thing. I know we could, because we didn't even get into what it was like to find out you're getting Mayweather McGregor. Like, how does that go, and what's the reaction to that?
It's unbelievable, man. Where I didn't think it would happen, and a lot of us didn't. And of course, being where we are now, and Floyd Mayweather is money, the nickname says it all. And Conor McGregor, bless him, man, was able to do his part in drumming. And again, we talk about a guy within 5 years went from being on welfare to being, cashing $100 million check. I don't care what you might think about his, behavior, his attitude. The guy to me is brilliant, and he's a genius. And oh, by the way, he's actually a hell of a fighter too. And with Floyd, I was quite impressed in the early going. People say, oh, well, Floyd was carrying him. Hey, Floyd could do what Floyd does. Conor, to me, gave him a much better fight than any of us expected, and it was a spectacle. But again, I look at it as being, you know what? This has Vince McMahon's fingerprints all over it, and here I am I represent professional wrestling / sports entertainment in everything I've done. And like I say, and maybe there's a way to, go full circle. When people think they're criticizing me and my other endeavors by calling me a pro wrestling announcer, little do they know they're giving me the highest compliment, because if you are a good pro wrestling announcer, like Jim Ross, like Joey Styles, Michael Cole, and the list goes on and on, you are a great storyteller. And to me, that's what we all do in the entertainment business, is tell stories.
Well, my man, I cannot wait to hear you tell the story of NXT TakeOver this weekend. I can't wait to see it. This was a lot of fun, man. I knew it was going to be. And
I think we need to have a part 2 here. We need a part 2 for sure.
I would love to. And like I said, I mean, when I get the value of, I started back in 2007, believe it or not, guys, doing a podcast up in Canada where John Pollock and Wayne Ting and my buddies from the Fight Network. And to see the rise. And I mean, again, what you guys have done too, and that's why. And a fellow Canadian, Chris Jericho. To me, the fact that you guys, nobody settles, man, and we know, Adam, and even you, Jay, about the dangers and the injuries and everything and what's cut short. But look what you've been able to accomplish since, and that's what keeps me going, thinking, you know what, there are no limits, truly. And just to finish off, Adam, with your wife Beth, and she says, oh, it's the hardest thing, and I just don't say this, and I know people always say, oh, I don't say this because she's married to you or you're related. Buddy, she's an effing natural, man. I was blown away by how she made the guests feel like she's good. If she wants to do this, she will do it very well. And I heard nothing but good things from Michael about Beth and Renee, and getting Renee to do, another Canadian, getting to be the first female to do a complete Raw. So people can say what they will. All I'll say is about women, it's about time. But again, let's not look in the past. We're here now, and I mean, it's just incredible what is happening throughout. But Beth, your wife, is just a beautiful soul and a talented broadcaster, my friend.
Man, I hope she doesn't listen to this. She's going to get a big head. Wait, I know she doesn't listen to this.
You guys are awesome, and anytime I can come back and say hello, I would love to. And I hope we cross paths in person, because I need that 5-second pose. Yeah.
We'll sit down. We'll have a coffee. It'll be. Definitely.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Three Canadian dudes chatting.
How's it going? Hey,
and then we'll apologize for everything. Sorry. No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Right on, bud.
Well, Mauro, thanks, man. This was a pleasure. It was a lot of fun, and again, knock 'em dead this weekend. I'll be watching probably the next morning with the time difference, but I will be watching.
All right, and one last PSA, guys, and not to harp on it, but you guys know I'm very heavily involved in mental health advocacy. I think it's something that permeates all of us, and especially our business, and really just in light of all of the tragedies that have happened recently with so many high-profile suicides. I just want to let people know you are not alone. There is help out there. Just talk to someone, especially men. There's a stigma that we are trying to smash. If you have a chance to see the Bipolar Rock and Roller, it's on Showtime On Demand right now. I believe it's on Crave TV in Canada. And just again, just let's take care of ourselves by doing what we did today, guys. Three friends talking about life, talking about their careers. We need to talk more about, everyone says, how are you? Or, hey, this is great weather we're having. How about saying, how are you, and actually waiting to hear the answer and giving an answer? So that's all I want to say is, mental health is a huge thing right now, and it should be talked about as much as anything else. And I'm glad that the conversation is getting louder. And thanks for letting me just say that.
No, and I'm glad that you're.
And I'm glad you brought it up, actually, and I would like to talk about it more, because what you said is, how are you, and actually looking someone in the eyes and caring about how they are. And I do think that thankfully now, in a lot of facets now, things are changing, and I think that is one of the there's more knowledge, and there's people are trying to discover more knowledge, and it's not just pushed away in a closet it's nice.
It can't be anymore, because lives literally are at stake. That's the thing, and you guys know it. I mean, firsthand. You know for a fact how this business takes its toll on our mental health, man. I was on the road for a year, and I'm living the pretty good life as an announcer. I'm not taking bumps daily, and I'm like, holy shit, these guys do this how many days a year? Yeah. I mean, it's tough. It's tough, and there's nothing wrong with it being tough. God bless, but also know you don't have to keep everything inside, and you don't have to think you're being weak by talking about pain that maybe others don't see, because I can tell you firsthand, I'm not supposed to be here, but if it weren't for my family, friends, and my work, the fact that I get to do something I love, to me it's therapy, and to me it keeps me fighting the good fight. And I just want to let your listeners know that there is help out there, and please just look for it, because I've said it before, mental illness can be a life sentence, but it doesn't have to be a death sentence, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned it. And you're so vocal and upfront with it, and you're a great ambassador for this cause. And obviously, if you haven't seen it, go out of your way to see your documentary that I believe was on Showtime. It was really well done, and really shed some light onto what you deal with when you have a condition like this.
Sure. Well, thank you guys very much, and continued success, guys. I really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Mauro. Appreciate you too, man. And thanks for coming on. This was great. It really was. It was
awesome.
A good time. Enjoy Santa Monica, my friend.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Are you kidding? It has the word Santa in it. How can I not enjoy it? It's Christmas every day here.
Yeah, and you never know. You might see Ole Olsen down there doing some curls at Muscle Beach.
You know what? Joking aside, unfortunately, we lost Ole too.
Oh,
believe it or not, recently.
That's
again, I don't want to end it a downer, but and that to me just speaks again about life, man. We life is now. It's so obvious, but life is now, and people have got to just live, because I find, and that's why I'm here. I'm here in Santa Monica. I'm living the beach life, but I'm working my ass off too, just like you guys. So, but if I do see the spirit of Mr. Furley, Mr. Furley, J.R. Furley was one of my favorite managers at Stampede Wrestling. Then I'll say hi to him. But no, it's again, we have one life. Let's live it to the fullest, guys.
Awesome, buddy.
Yep, well, it's one of my favorite Pearl Jam songs, Live in the Present Tense, and it really,
I love it.
Yeah. So, again, go live it, man. Get out
Enjoy
there,
that beach.
Enjoy Santa Monica. See that damn Regal Beagle for me.
I will do that for sure. I will have a couple of, what is it that Don Cherry calls them? Don Cherry calls them wobbly pops, or what is Don?
Wobbly pops. Yeah, have a wobbly pop.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, bro.
All right, see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What a great dude.
That was fun. That was so, and I knew it would be fun. I knew it was going to be a blast. I knew
we didn't even scratch the surface on half of the stuff we could have talked. We need a part two with him, and it's one of those ones too. Like, he's just obviously, set up shop in Santa Monica. We don't want to keep him all day. He's gracious with his time, but what a good dude, and a great story that he has. And like I said, if you haven't seen his documentary on living with bipolar disease, you should do yourself a favor and check it out, because it's really powerful. It's really, really well done.
Well, and he's truly a guy. He said, you're not weak if you admit or if you talk about it. If anything, to me, it's the opposite. It's strength.
Yeah.
A strong person or, the stigma of a man can't open up, can't let their feelings out. Bullshit. That has changed. Everyone understands that it is the complete opposite of that. So I'm glad that's out there, and a documentary like this is out there, and a guy like Mauro who is out there, and also he sounds like it just brings such an energy and an exuberance and a positive energy, but that can't be 24/7, and so it's refreshing. But again, everything, you talk about the women's evolution and just in the world now, not just in terms of wrestling, and how that's changing and how the stigma of mental health is changing. And it's all for the better. And then you got a guy like Mauro who's just living his dream, man. And it's refreshing and it's fun to see. And he's just a very, very fun guest who has a great vocabulary, which always makes me happy.
Yeah, and he's just got such a thirst for life and excitement for life and for his job. Yeah, he just loves everything that he's doing. He just does it the fullest, and it's infectious in a way.
And that's why he resonates with the audience, because they can hear it. Like I talked about, they can hear his excitement and his pure passion for these projects. So anyway, just very, very fun to have him on the show. Yeah. Great dude. Can't wait to catch up with him face to face. Crazy. Oh, and we didn't even talk about Renee being the first female to call an entire Raw, and that is so amazing. And she's so kick-ass. We've had her on the show. If you've listened to that, or if you haven't, go listen to it and just realize how fun and stupid she is.
She did a great job. She killed it. And
way.
And this is cool too. The women keep breaking down these walls that, like, whether it's commentary or in the ring or main events or Hell in a Cell or Money in the Bank matches, they just continue to knock them down, and good for them. And they're killing it. So it's amazing.
Yep. It's a big week, Bird. It's a big week. NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. There's SummerSlam. Renee Young called Raw. But more importantly than all of that, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, rest in power.